We've been on a roller coaster in 2022, from high to low, and finally we arrive in 2023. Are you thinking of buying a home in Toronto, or are you thinking about selling your house? Want to know what the real estate market will look like in 2023? I will be sharing the trends and some interesting predictions for the Toronto real estate market, from the hot topic of home prices in Toronto to inflation and of course the interest rate. Let's all grab our coffee and get to it. I'm sure we noticed the trend after the interest rate hike last year. When the first sign of interest appeared in March, home prices began to fall from the peak in February. We had a total of 7 rate hikes and we had 9 months of decline and counting. So it is safe to say that if the interest rate remains high, home prices and sales will continue to drop. However, if you have watched my market updates in the past, I'm sure you also noticed that overall prices had dropped, but many local micro markets had remained flat for the past few months. As an active real estate agent in the market, I can assure you that prices have remained flat for at least the past 3 months in areas such as your region after assisting a client in securing a freehold townhouse in Stouffville that would close in January, and another client looking at the Markham and Vaughan real estate market. However, I do know that in some areas such as Brampton, King City and more suburbs, prices drop significantly too. But if you ask me, after negotiating with many sellers and agents, the seller will not sell if the price is not met. It seems the market is becoming stable after 6 to 7 months of adjustments. Now, onto the prediction. Based on this behavior, I would assume the price will either keep dropping in the first quarter of 2023, but not drastically. And the reason why is that almost all analysts and banks were predicting there will still be 2 more interest hikes leading to the spring of 2023. Maybe a quarter basis point would be raised each time, and then I would think the inflation would come down to a more manageable level. While the interest rate hike is part of the equation to calm the inflation, there are other external factors causing it as well. Just look at the lumber price as an example. The impact of the interest hike affects the price tremendously. Before and during the pandemic, lumber prices skyrocketed due to supply issues causing shipment delays and excess demand for building homes and renovations, especially in Canada.
Okay, here is the chart for the lumber pricing based on the board feet, and we have a 1-year time frame here. And as you can see, the peak were around $14.50 a board feet during the March of last year. And ever since the interest rate hike that started in March, we have seen the prices go insanely plummeting from here. And right now, early in January, we have seen the prices actually went down below 300s.
And since it has gone so low because of the low demand, we could see that it could then start to help ease the inflation. Another example that I think is also a good indicator for signaling the end of the high inflation that we see today is the zero COVID restriction from China. In short, if you haven't been paying close attention to China, the supply chain globally is heavily affected by China, as they are one of the leaders of today's exports and manufacturing. Yes, we had experienced a reopening since the pandemic here in North America and other parts of the world for some time, but not in China. In fact, they were in strict zero COVID restriction for most part of 2022. Obviously, that is affecting their economy and also affecting the supply chain issues around the world. I think the most drastic incident happened when they forced a very strict lockdown on Foxconn during mid-October in 2022, known as the Apple factory that is located in central China. Since the outbreak of Omicron in the factory, this has sparked a massive protest by the factories of 200,000 employees. This is when China made a big and surprising decision to lift the zero COVID restriction and finally join the train of reopening for the second largest economy in the world. I'm not sure if you caught the big picture. Prices remain high when demand is not consistently met. If China reopens, that would solve many of the supply issues, and this is why I'm optimistic that the inflation will slow down in 2023. I just want to clarify that this is just my own opinion, and if you don't agree, I'm also curious about what your opinion is, so make sure you leave it in the comment section down below. On another note, the Bank of Canada is also the least interested in raising the interest rate because it is not only affecting the overall economy but also impacting the real estate market. The average Canadian's net worth is tied up overwhelmingly in the real estate if you compare that to the USA. So to say the least, this means that the average Canadian has 60% or more of their net worth in real estate. This is a big impact if the Bank of Canada decide to increase the interest rate and let the housing market collapse. For a quick reference, this is from pre-Condo article. As a comparison, the median net worth of a family in the USA is about $97,300 compared to $478,600 in 2016 in Canada that were tied up in real estate. Bottom line, if inflation starts to come down for the reasons I mentioned earlier, we could see the rate of interest rise by the end of 2023. People spend less money and firms stop hiring when interest rates are high. We enter a recession as a result of our GDP starting to decline. Bank of Canada wants to see an economic rebound rather than a recession. It is their best interest to keep interest rates as low as possible. Since the interest rate hike, the trend for pre-construction projects including the condominiums and low-rise property has also been downward. In fact, it was historically low in sale for new construction. With headlines like this and this can tell that wasn't a pretty picture. But allow me to remind you that most pre-construction buyers are investors, and in terms of investment, I believe the new trend is really giving them some advantage. The builders are becoming more creative and providing longer deposit structure to attract buyers. If you strictly just look at the number, it makes so much sense, but like any other opportunity, risk is always there. Let's look at the latest project from a reputable builder, Pardell, in Lakeview Village, Harborwalk. To think about it, when you can buy 6 years of time with a deposit of more or less about $120,000, it is really worthwhile. As I previously stated, some builders are even working with extensive deposit structure, while others allow the final 5% due on the occupancy period. I know there are people that would say it is still risking a lot because you are buying with a premium price compared to resale condo and price could go down even more. You can tell me that I'm biased as a realtor, but looking historically in appreciation and the demand that we have in Toronto, where immigration is also at historically high, I'm leaning toward higher prices 6 years from now. Of course, I will also respect the other who think it will go down, but I really like my chances as long as they are long term. Maybe that is the price you have to pay in order to prosper in the future. I guess we will have to see how it plays out in 2023. Anyway, I hope you find some valuable information from this video, and if you like the content, make sure you hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. And if you disagree with the trends and you think they will go in different directions, make sure you comment down below so that I can hear more thoughts about the trend going forward this year. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.